Today's episode is brought to you by AOS Kitchens, the South's leading outdoor kitchen design and installation specialists. Welcome back to another episode of the Meet and Greet Barbecue Podcast. As you would have heard by now, we released a couple of episodes. Haven't got to a full season yet, but me and Dan are just chewing the fat and seeing where we're going. So, Dan, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. Very good indeed. It's been nice getting back into the flow and doing some more cooking and having people over. And I think Owen and I had that period where we both fell out of love a little bit with barbecuing again, but we're both heavily back into it. And what a time when the sun's coming back out and we can enjoy longer hours outside. I've been doing more of the traditional British barbecuing, though things like a load of sausages, doing them offset, getting a bit of smoke in them, serving them as hot dogs or cutting them up, even kind of smoking them and putting them in Yorkshire puddings as like kind of smoked sausage toad in the holes. Using the Blackstone that I've got to do quite a lot of smash burgers, and also some breakfasts as well. So things like American pancakes, which is lots of fun, particularly if you do cook them in like butter and bacon fat. Lovely, lovely stuff. Whoa. Now that you've got the love back into it, yeah.
I only asked you how you're doing.
I'm excited. It's nice to be back and to have the passion back, as it were.
Just before we kick into barbecue, I love the difference between us. So this is a Friday night, and you're sat there with what I'm assuming is a whiskey and Coke.
Of course.
I'm rock and roll with a peppermint tea. Lad. I've had two glasses of cider. I'm on my peppermint tea, and it's only 8:30.
Well, you don't want your throat and voice messed up, do you? Little precious boy in the corner.
So Blackstone.
Yep.
Interested to know, have you used the air fryer? Because I've got the inverted commas old model, but you got the one with the air fryer. Have you given that a go yet?
So with the inverted commas new model, I have not, and the main reason for that is I don't have any outdoor sockets in this house. I need to get an electrician over to do it.
Extension cable?
Well, I could do, but I don't really have like a proper waterproof one. And I want to set it up in a way that it would permanently be plugged in when I start doing it, just from a laziness point of view. I don't
it sounds like
back and forth. Oh, yeah, it is. Let's put this out there. It is nothing but an excuse. I haven't been asked to plug it in, but that's because I've been barbecuing on it, which is part of the questions I had. And it's not a criticism. It's just not what I use a barbecue for. I can see why people would, particularly with the whole, you can cook things quickly on it like you would with like other gas barbecues. Although I love the flat top. I really enjoy that. And if you've got the added bonus of being able to use it as an air fryer and you want to be cooking outdoors more, I get that. I just haven't been asked to plug it in. Is that bad? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. Just it's there. I just wondered if you used it, and if you have used it, how good is it? In comparison to a normal air fryer.
Well, I also haven't used a normal air fryer. I think that's possibly part of the problem. My brain doesn't even think, oh, I could do that in the air fryer, in the Blackstone.
Well, I think you should stop just for the sake of following this up in the next episode. Just run an extension cable out, plug it in, have a go. Report back to us.
You run an extension cable through. You set it up for me. Do you know how much effort it is for me to lean down to my right and touch the plug socket that's empty that I can retouch right now and open this French window that is within arm's reach to run a cable out to a Blackstone that's roughly 5 yards that way? It's so painful to do. You do it for me.
Sounds it. So I want to start off this episode with a public apology. So recently we obviously went to see Sean at Irish Egg in his barbecue launch, and we did an episode on the way home. And one of the very specific questions you asked me was, Owen, what are you are you in the market for a new barbecue, or are are you looking at getting one? And I categorically said no. I'm content with what I've got. I lied to myself. I lied to you. I lied to the community.
On
I
that
have
point, did you or has Captain ADHD kicked in and your hyper focus has gone back onto barbecuing, which I love. I'm not going to criticize you for, but you've always been all or nothing with these things, right?
very much so. So since those a couple of episodes and that kind of visit, I've been barbecuing almost every day.
Oh, lovely
Uh,
stuff. Beautiful.
I I have actually got rid of my Traeger. So I had, for the first time, obviously building the collection, I have actually got rid of one. So I got rid of the Ironwood 885. I was only using it for big gatherings, and I
And
didn't have big
breakfasts,
gatherings
you
that
used to use it for
much.
breakfasts quite a
Well,
bit,
I
didn't
kind of
you?
moved, yeah, I kind of moved use the Blackstone for that, or the Weber, or actually in the Della Vita for like a one pot in a
Hmm.
cast iron dish for breakfast and that. But anyway, so my wife wasn't so keen on getting a new one, in terms of space. So it was a one in, one out system. So I got rid of the got rid of the Traeger.
Wives are
Um,
quite like that. Oh, you mean the barbecues, right? I get it.
yes,
I get it.
yes,
I
yeah,
get
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah, I get it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And we've spoken about live fire cooking and
Hmm.
that type of thing. And I was toying between an offset and something a bit more live fire. And I've uh, I've decided to go all in. And even though this in a couple of weeks' time when this gets released, I'd have had it for a couple of weeks, but it arrived yesterday, and I've gone for a Somerset grill, the Asado type grill, and I've just seasoned it this evening. Hence why I'm so happy and smiley. I've just been out there just playing with fire on a Friday night. So I'm super happy. And you're coming over tomorrow, so I'm doing the first cook on it. So that should be interesting. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing with a new toy after categorically saying I wasn't going to buy any more. I've spent the most amount of money I've ever spent on a barbecue, so I've gone for the polar opposite. But very much looking forward to giving that a bash, I tell you.
So I'm bringing over a gammon joint that I bought for Christmas and couldn't cook because Steph's dad wasn't feeling great on Christmas morning. I'd got it out to cook, and I thought, right, I'll chuck it in the freezer then, if that's the case. And then 5 hours later, he knocked on the door and came in, and I was devastated that I'd then frozen the gammon and not cooked it. And I haven't really had a purpose to cook it, so I'm defrosting it now. It's sitting out there, all 1.88 kilograms of it. So hopefully thaw properly overnight, bring it over, and we can have a go on that together. Some male bonding, kind of rub it up, get all our
Yeah,
seasoning on it, and
rubbing
then
on
just
meat, that's it. Good stuff.
exactly. But what are you preparing for tomorrow? Have you thought about what meat you're gonna do, or are you just gonna go down the butchers and flirt with them, bat your eyelashes, and see what you can get out of them?
Truth is, I don't know. So obviously it's its maiden voyage. So
You gotta be gentle. Gotta be gentle. You
yeah,
can't you can't you can't break it in too hard.
I think obviously we'll do. Obviously, we're going to cook a gammon on there just to see how that turns out. I mean, I kind of want to try a steak.
Hmm. On an offset.
Um, Sorry.
On the offset.
Well, it's no on the asado. I haven't got an offset.
I don't know why I said offset. I'm tired and I'm drinking whiskey.
But yeah, so I don't know, but maybe some. But
Oh, that's why, because I've been trying to convince you to buy that Yoda for fucking years. I want you to get a Yoda as well, Owen. If this is going to be the start of you buying more barbecues, promise me you'll get a Yoda too.
no, I will get. I will someday. I will get an offset.
On
But
Sunday.
I actually really like the Leviathan pit. That
Oh,
element.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, that looks a really really super machine. But yeah, so truth is, I'm going to go down to the butcher's tomorrow, see what they've got, thinking some steaks, maybe some charred veg to go with it, or maybe a chimichurri or something like that on a steak with your gammon. We can also get the cast iron dishes out and maybe do like a glaze, cook a glaze into the gammon, etc. So yeah, we'll just see where the day takes us. But very much looking forward to it.
I tell you what I would love to do, what I've always dreamed of if I got an asado, but you wouldn't do this because you don't like it. I'd love to do a lamb. Stick a whole lamb on the cross, opened up, and just let it cook over time, dripping gloriously into it. But I know you're not a huge fan of the meat. I mean, would you ever consider doing that just because it's the classic to give it a
Uh,
go?
I'm just not interested in the lamb, to be fair. But obviously, what it does lend itself for, because it's got like a pole that runs across the top, and obviously
Hmm.
you can, elevate and drop down the grill level, so you can cook low and slow as well as high, high and fast and that. But you can put meat hooks in there so that you can obviously, that you see kind
Hang.
of hang the meat off it exactly on the meat hooks and stuff. I mean, it lends itself to stuff on the bone, but like tomahawk steaks, for example, but you end up spending so much money on the bone rather than the actual meat itself. Do you know what I
Stop saying on the bone. Makes me giggle.
mean?
Boner.
um, but yeah, so the complete contrast, literally 2 weeks ago when we recorded the episodes.
I love it though. I know how your brain works. I was like, if he's getting back into this, if I just feed a little bit of fire, a little bit of flame, maybe we can get something in there. And to be fair, I still really want to, and I'm sure I'll get over the next few months, either a kadai or a big like cooking bowl that can be used in a similar sort of way for like live fire cooking. So I'd be lying if I was pretending that I wasn't extremely jealous, but equally, I'm very excited to come over tomorrow, start cooking some stuff for fun. What about something like a pineapple? Because the amount of times we've had hung pineapple over live fire and we always love it. Is that something else we could do tomorrow if I could
Yeah,
pick something
yeah,
up?
yeah, quite probably ham and pineapple, right?
Hmm.
It's
I hadn't
it's
even
good.
thought about that. I hadn't even considered the ham and pineapple. Look at you, little genius.
Well, or gammon and eggs, right? So we
Yeah.
got a little cast iron dish to cook some eggs on there. So hey, the world's our oyster. Although I don't want to cook oysters, but uh, yeah. I tell you what though, since we last met,
Hmm.
I've I think I got into the, as I said, we were so infrequent in terms of cooking, but I've literally been using as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I think I told you last time that where there's been a couple of barbecues that I've not used for such a long time that I opened them up and they were just truly disgusting.
Hmm.
Like I got the jet wash out and just absolutely hosed everything down. It was true. It was absolutely disgusting. However, but what it then gave me an opportunity to do is where I obviously cleared out all the crap and jet washed it down, and then I basically lit them up and just run them as hot as possible just to burn any other crap off.
Hmm.
But then I thought, well, that's clean now. Might as well bloody use it. So I've actually been kind of going through and so in the last week and a half, I've cooked on the Oni twice, I've cooked on the Della Vita twice, I've cooked on the Weber, I've cooked on the Broil King Keg. Um, Blackstone a couple of times. I've literally just been working my way through, but kind of doing a bit of everything really. So from pizzas to breakfasts to one pot dishes. I did a big like a chili con carne on the Weber the other day. So I've really not just burger. I have done some
Yeah.
burgers and I have done some sausages, and I've got a fail to tell you about in a minute, Dan. But yeah, I've essentially just any got back to doing anything on the barbecue rather than just a brisket or just some sausages or whatever. So I've been using a lot of cast iron dishes and just using it as a tasty oven.
So just going back on what you've said, do you think that the fact you hadn't used the barbecues for a while, so they've got a bit manky, do you think that was a big reason why you'd put off going back to them for a long time? It was an extra excuse, or do you think that was just a byproduct of not being
No, it
asked?
was just a byproduct of falling out of love with them for a little
Yeah.
bit. But there was a couple of times that, a month or two ago when I opened them up and went, nope. put
Yeah.
the put the cover back on. I thought that's a tomorrow problem, or that's another day's problem.
Just start rocking backwards and forwards, crying. Don't go in there,
Yeah.
Laura. It's alive. Um,
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, it's all good. And actually, I feel better in myself, right? Because how many times have we spoken about it's always really good for our well-being? And I appreciate we're probably covering a little bit of similar ground to what we did a couple of weeks ago, but genuinely just feel much happier. And I think obviously the sunshine, right? We've had 2.5, 3 weeks of glorious sunshine. I just think all the combination of a lot of things definitely in a good headspace. If you've been looking or thinking about an outdoor kitchen, then look no further than AOS Outdoor Kitchens.
They are the South's leading outdoor kitchen design and installation specialists.
Their extensive showroom is based just outside Bournemouth on the Dorset-Hampshire border, and as well as numerous in-store displays, also features a live outdoor kitchen where they cook every week on Kamado grills, pizza ovens, and all filmed and shown on YouTube.
They offer a wealth of knowledge on how to transform your patio into the most incredible outdoor dining area with styles and options to suit every budget, and you can guarantee they will be able to create something perfectly suited to you and your home.
They stock and supply everything that you're going to need for outdoor cooking, including barbecues, Kamado ovens, pizza ovens, outdoor fridges, and every accessory that you would need to become the ultimate outdoor chef.
So if you want to make yourself the envy of your friends and neighbours, get in touch with them today to arrange a consultation and take the first step in transforming your back garden into the most incredible entertainment space.
Visit aoskitchens.co.uk. But yeah, do you want to hear about my? It's such a stupid fail. But do you want to hear about my fail for this week?
Always.
So, first and foremost, I went to a new butcher's.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like I was cheating on my old butcher, but
Such a
decided,
dirty little
I know.
bitch you are, aren't you?
So anyway, I
So
went to a new
naughty.
butcher's, and anyway, they had these chili. They looked really nice actually, and they were pretty darn good. So these chili jam burgers.
Mm-hmm.
So it was what day are we today? Friday. So it was Wednesday. Got home from work, just quickly fired up the Blackstone. Kids wanted halloumi, so I was cooking. It was quite good for halloumi. Cooking the halloumi there, cooking the burgers, did some onions, all that kind of stuff. And I cooked everything, and of course you used in the spatula, right? I've got one of them big spatulas to kind of move stuff around the Blackstone. And I got so excited as I was taking my plate of food in from outside that I was like, oh, there was a little bit of halloumi or something stuck on the end of the spatula. Went to kind of get it off, not realizing it was still nuclear hot, and I burnt all my lip
Oh
because
no.
all of the jam, of course, that were coming out of the burgers and stuff, and
Oh
then kind
God,
of
did
got
it
like
stick to you as well?
yeah. So
Oh no.
I've got like a. I've got, I don't know if you can see it that well here, but literally just straight away singed my lip, and it's all been a bit bluey black the last couple of days. Just it's jam when it's hot, right? It's so hot.
Well, yeah, because it's literally caramel.
Yeah,
It's just boiling sugar. That's literally what they used to use as like torture in
yeah.
certain
So
bays.
yeah. Needless to say, there was a few swear words to myself. What a stupid thing to do.
Needless to say, you had the last laugh, Alan Partridge.
Aha.
That goes through me. So when I was back like 15, 16 at school, in the summer, lunchtimes, we used to go walk down to a kebab place that was quite close to school. They used to open up and do pizzas. And one of my friends bought like a pizza, not thinking, as soon as they passed it to him, just opened it up, took out a slice, and a bit of cheese hit on his hand and literally melted to his hand. And when he peeled it off, the skin came off with it. And to this day, he's got a huge scar on the back of his hand from like 2 seconds of cheese being on it. And the second you talked about that jam sticking to your lip, just literally went through me. But I
Yeah.
reckon I would have laughed a lot if I was there at the time.
Yeah, probably because you're a mean old bugger.
I'm a lovely, lovely man who,
Have you got any fails then?
yes, I I do. So I started cooking again more often, just like yourself. Back on the monolith. I was quite lucky in the sense that I hadn't completely stopped barbecuing, so I was still barbecuing maybe twice a month, rather than how often we were doing, particularly when we first started this and we were barbecuing pretty much every day. Hashtag lockdown. What else were we meant to do? Um, so I haven't had the cleanup issues that you've had, but I did a big cook where I knew that the barbecue's gonna be on for the day. We had people coming over, and a bit like yourself, I was like, right, I'll just run them on a lift for like 4 or 5 hours, and I'll do multiple courses over time. I did like sausages cut up, had them as kind of picky bits with sauces and stuff. I did burgers. Um, I did some chicken breasts offset at about 180, 190. That took about 30, 40 minutes to do. Just kind of just not direct, like deflect the plate and everything around. I did some other bits and pieces as well. I did mac and cheese on there. And but at the start of the day, I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll get some potatoes, lube them up with a bit of olive oil, bit of salt, bit of pepper, wrap them up in tin foil, and I'll just chuck them in the fire in the bottom. And I always find if you do that, they kind of go quite nutty. If you leave them over a long period of time, really, really nice. Completely forgot about them. Completely forgot about them. So, like, maybe a week or two later, opened up the barbecue as I do, and then start brushing all bits out. I was like, what the hell? I don't use briquettes. Why? Why is this metal? And I mean, they shrunk and went all like gnarly. And the fact that I'd left them in there for like week and a half,
What do they taste like?
absolutely rank. Oh, magnificent. Some of the best stuff I put in my mouth. I've never felt so joyed. Um, they were rock solid as well. I reckon if I dropped them, they would have bounced. That's the sort of it was. So yeah, I've told myself if I ever do that in the future, I'm gonna put an alarm on my phone that's just like potatoes, so I just don't forget about it. But
Yeah.
so annoyed at myself as well because it was one of those things that when I did, I was like, oh, I'm so looking forward to them. How did I even forget? But life gets in the way, I
Yeah.
guess. So yeah, that wasn't the best barbecuing experience of recent times.
Yeah,
On
not ideal. But it keeps us honest, right?
Yeah, it does, right? And something we don't get enough of. I want to hear other people's barbecue fails. Write into us. We'd love to talk about kind of fails, things that you guys have seen or done. I'm going to get on to something I want to talk about today, which I've been saying to Owen's called cooking in the wild. I don't know if this is something we might make a bit more regular. I've got a few stories about this, but I'm only going to tell one today because it's very, very funny, in my opinion. Um, but please do contact us, message us on Instagram, email us, just Google meet and greet. You'll find different ways to be able to get hold of us and let us know of any of your own barbecue fails or something funny you've seen other people do that we can discuss. And we'd love to dissect it on the pod, as it were. But yeah, so cooking in the wild, I've been talking to Owen a bit about this. I'm not sure if he's convinced about it as a feature, but we'll do it for this episode and see how it goes. So I want to talk about things that I've seen other people do when we're out and about. One of the funniest things that I've seen for a while around barbecuing. I won't name the place, but it's very close to me around Ipswich. It's a farm that does rare breeds. So we went there as a family and we met up with some friends, and they've got a fire cage that they have in this like quite big wooden hut they used to cook everything on, and they do fantastic food. If people work out where this is, I don't want this to be a bad name on them because we love the place. We've been back there. They always do great food on it, but this was very, very funny as they'd only recently got the fire cage. Um, so went in, had some breakfast from there. They did like some sausages and stuff. Absolutely loved it. Went round the farm, did some lamb petting, which as you can imagine, I spent 4 hours there being Welsh. Really loved all of that. They had to prize me off
Was
the
there any
mounds.
signs that said no heavy petting?
Oh, there is now. There wasn't back then. Walked around. I was like, sure, I really enjoyed that. I'm gonna go back for more food. So we went down. Kids were playing in the playground, and we're queuing up. I'm like, now I'm no barbecue expert, despite what we claim after 80 odd episodes.
True, yeah.
But if you're using a fire cage and the cooking surface at the top of the cage might be what, 4 foot, 3 foot, maybe? I'm trying to think of like height wise. And you're in a big wooden hut, and the whole hut is like a story and a half high, right? So big old hut. And you've got like a, for want of a better word, funnel area, chimney for like stuff to escape. Probably an extractor fan, right? You shouldn't be able to see the flames coming out the top of that. And you definitely shouldn't see the flames then catch on to the wooden hut and start moving to the outside of the hut and start coming down the front, billowing black smoke. No one else in the queue or people around were batting an eyelid. And it was one of those things where I was looking around other people thinking, am I going mad? Because I'm pretty sure buildings aren't meant to be on fire. Like, as a minimum criteria of a building that's cooking things that I want to be served from. But there was like 3 or 4 people in front of me in front of the queue, and I was in such shock I didn't think to walk to the front of the queue. So I queued up for like 3 or 4 minutes watching this fire get bigger and start to envelop the side. I was like,
That is the most British thing you could do.
yeah.
I can't skip the queue. I know the building's on fire, but it's not the right etiquette.
Oh, the logic gets better. I get to the front of the queue. What do you
I
think the
bet you
first?
put your order in first, didn't
What
you?
do you think the first thing
Yes,
that
you
I
did.
did was? The first thing wasn't even like the order. I was like, fire cage. I absolutely love it. Where did you get it from? How long have you been doing this? I don't remember it being here before. So we talk for a bit. I was like, oh, what food have you got on? Blah blah blah. All right, well, I'd like to have like this burger. You've got like pulled pork. Can I have some of that as well? Did you do that the day before? By the way, minor inconvenience. I think your hut's on fire. And they're like, nah, it's just, sometimes if you turn the extractor on, we've done tests. It like sucks up and it looks like it's flaming out the top. I was like, yeah, but does black smoke normally come out of there? Nah, you wouldn't be seeing smoke. I mean, I am, but okay, no, it can't be. I was like, well, do you mind humouring me? Just coming out the back and having a look. Out the guy comes, looks at me, looks up, looks back at me quickly, looks up, looks back at me, and he went, I don't think it's meant to be doing that. I was like, no, do you think maybe you want to try and put it out? I was like, yeah. Because it's a farm, they had like a pump that was in like a mini reservoir or something. So literally, you just pulled a hose over, told people to go away, and sprayed it, and the thing went out. But I watched a building slowly catch alight and burn for 5 minutes while I queued to put water in. And I've been there at least 4 times afterwards. Still got the fire cage. Obviously, place isn't alight. Food's absolutely amazing, but I can't think of another occasion where I've queued up to a burning building to order food before. But
Yeah.
it's amazing. I don't think it's fair to say the name of the place, but if people are around Ipswich,
No,
you
but
find it.
I do think it's amusing that you've obviously it's not amusing for them, fire damage and it's dangerous. But just the fact that you queued rather than saying, "Excuse me, your building's on fire," or going to the queue, by the way, your building's on fire. But then, or essentially talking about the food that you want to order before telling them after queuing.
Oh,
That's that. I
I
mean,
still
that
got
is
my
you.
food after they put it out. So they sprayed the
Exactly. Yeah,
side
I
of the
was just
building
saying.
with water and they still gave me the food. But it was the fact, like, I even called Steph over. I was like, is the building on fire? Or am I just being crazy? She's like, no, it's a light. Oh, cool. Yeah, well, there's still 2 people here, so I better stand there and just watch it, gleefully enjoying fire.
Well,
I
the problem
know.
is, not in that circumstance, but fire is mesmerizing.
Yeah, that is. But I thought
Uh,
you'd enjoy that. It's yeah.
yeah, yeah, it was interesting.
So yeah, I think we should do more of these little stories. We talk about barbecue fails, and it's not slagging other people up, but just funny things that we've seen out about in the real world that maybe bring a smile to people's face. But again, love to hear other people's stories about cooking in the wild.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've got any stories for that.
Well, we'll dissect your brain because I think you've got a few you don't even remember in a future episode. But do you know what? We're really pleased to be back and to be recording again, and a little bit of a show behind the curtain, as it were. Previous series, we've bulk recorded episodes way far in advance, and when you start actually listening to them, the majority of the series has already been recorded. We're not doing that this time. We're going to drop episodes when we can, as often as we can, and put out as much of a series as we can do, but life gets in the way. But we were so desperate to be able to put our conversations out there. This episode's probably going to drop, what, 3-4 weeks after we've recorded it, tops, do you reckon? So
Yeah,
it's
something like that.
so it's going to be
But
more
I think,
interactive if you do reach out to us, is what I'm trying to say.
but also, you know, we've made a conscious effort where we haven't been releasing episodes now. At least we're starting to um, put some snippets together of previous episodes from all of the 6 seasons before.
Hmm.
Um, even just teaser clips, snippets from previous episodes for people just to wet their whistle whilst
Hmm.
we record some new episodes. But I suppose, ultimately now we're in that season, aren't we? That naturally people are going to get out more. It's
Hmm.
coming up to barbecue season, festival season. People are just going to generally be back out and cooking, and we're going to, certainly see a lot more socially, as well as us and actually cooking ourselves, but also I think recording some episodes. So all in all, a good summer ahead.
Exactly. And we look forward to walking you through it. So yeah, been Dan and Owen, and until next time.
Keep on grilling.
Today's episode of the Meet and Greet Barbecue podcast is brought to you by AOS Outdoor Kitchens. They are the South's leading outdoor kitchen design and installation specialists.